So our readings this Sunday are about awe and mission. Both Isaiah and Peter will be awestruck and ashamed in the presence of God. But God, despite their imperfections, despite their feelings of unworthiness, God will send them both onto mission. Our first reading comes from Isaiah, and God is calling Isaiah to deliver a message to King Ahaz. But King Ahaz is going to reject the prophetic mission, the message to lay down all of his arms and just trust in God. And here in our passage this Sunday, Isaiah is talking about that vision that he had when God was calling him to deliver this message, and how unworthy he felt and how he needed to be purified before going out on the mission. Our second reading comes from 1 Corinthians. We're continuing our continuous reading through 1 Corinthians. And this week, we hear Paul talking about the resurrection of Christ, and he makes three specific points about it. First, Paul makes it clear that he did not originate this teaching, but is passing on what is taught by all the apostles. Second, he makes the point that the death of Christ was not just another good man's end. It was the fulfillment of God's salvation promised by the prophets to heal the guilt of our sins. And the third point, this is verified, all of this is verified by the testimony of the most credible of all witnesses, the apostles that Jesus himself chose, of which Paul is just the last and the least. Finally, our gospel reading. Peter is reluctant to obey Jesus' command to go back out, put his nets out into the deep of the lake. He's got to be questioning, what does this rabbi from Nazareth know about fishing? But when Peter follows the command and puts his nets out into the deep and sees the great catch he's got, he's immediately humbled. He immediately recognizes he's in the presence of greatness and he is unworthy. But Jesus calls him, and despite his imperfections, despite that feeling of unworthiness, he calls him to greatness. You know, that's the way we all are. That despite our imperfections, the imperfections like Isaiah or that Peter had, we all sense those imperfections when God calls us. We're not worthy. But no, that's true. None of us are worthy to serve God. We've got to continue to listen to the call and recognize that he will purify us and seal us.